हाय गाइस, वेलकम टू माय वीडियो इंटरव्यू। और आज मेरे साथ है वाउस फॉर इटर्निटी की फाउंडर अनुराधा गुप्ता। एंड आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू सी हर बिकॉज बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही है, लोगों को मिला रही हैं, मैच मेकिंग कर रही हैं। एंड it's quite exclusive, guys. It's more like bespoke, and she told me that it's confidential as well. So let's hear it from her. Welcome to my video interview, Anuradha.
Thank
And
you.
how you feeling like when you come back to India? How is it for you? Do people like throng you, please hamari matchmaking kar dijiye?
No, it's always good. I grew up in India, so it's always good to be back in India. And whenever I'm here, time flies. And we're speaking now, and from here straight, I have to head to the airport, like we were
Yeah,
talking about, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on this flight back to New York. So yeah, it's always lovely.
Okay, so how did it all start for you? So I know that you come from a background in sports, working in sports, but not being a player though. I mean, you didn't know how to play sports, but then you were working in the sports domain. From there to matchmaking, I mean, how did it all happen for you?
I was always sports captain in school and all of that. So I don't. I mean, I've always been in sports. I didn't know how to play football because I don't think growing up in India playing football was really very popular when I was growing up. Yes, we're a land of cricket. We're a country where we're all cricket
Right.
obsessed. But I never saw that with football that much. So. When I went to London, I got a job as in the strategy team for a football club called Arsenal.
Correct.
And but really, I mean, I come from a family of my father's a businessman. I come from a family. I had already started. I'd done a startup earlier. I'd sold it, so I was not.
And what was that about?
Initially, this was right out of college. This was to do with exports, garment exports.
Okay.
So I was into that phase then. And then I had a stint of about, I think about 10 years in the corporate line. And then I went back to being what I feel I am naturally inclined towards, and that's entrepreneurship, right? I
Okay.
am an entrepreneur at my heart. So I went back
Okay.
to it. It's just a
Okay.
natural fit. And I went back to starting Vows for Eternity, and now a decade later.
But what intrigues me is that you were like in different genres altogether, sports, then garments, like you said. Now coming to matchmaking, how did that happen for you? What was that thought in your mind कि एक दिन यार ये करना है मुझे, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Well, two things. I do. In life, I always believe that you go with the natural flow,
Yeah,
right?
true.
And that's where it took me. So I got married late by Indian standards, and when I was looking, I didn't find the right person, and I said
When was this, if
so
you
I
can
got
share
married
it
when I
with?
was 34, which
Oh,
15
damn.
years ago.
Okay.
Keep in mind,
Oh, you're
15
so
years ago,
kind to share your age.
this was no, absolutely. I mean, I love this is the best years of my life, so
Yeah.
I'm loving it. So it was, I didn't find the right person, and therefore you meet people, they are not the way they look in the photographs.
It's crazy.
Yeah, behind a computer screen, anybody can be whoever they want to be.
Yeah.
So that's really how the seed got planted in my head. And once I found my life partner, I relocated from London to the US, and I was in New York when I started Vows
Did
for
he support
Eternity.
you for this idea?
Of course, I mean it's a partnership.
Yeah.
Firstly, I don't need the permission. Let's be very clear about that. But
No, but the support, the
secondly, support,
spouse
support.
support.
Like he has my support. Nobody can take support for granted.
Correct.
Either way, it's not
Correct.
gender specific,
Yes,
right? So
absolutely.
the way he has my support for whatever choices he has made, equally, um, I have his support, and that's how partnership should be, right?
True.
So it's we're both fortunate, I guess, that we have each other. Um, so I started this, and of course, I do a bunch of other things as well. Willa, your question sort of coming back to um, this when I do, with Vows for Eternity, it's very much about trying to connect two people who are very aligned, who think, the value systems are the same, they want the same things from life. So it's very much about two people who are really compatible with each other and who are looking for the right reason, looking for marriage. We are not a dating service, right? And
Right.
that's why we're very much we are confidential. We are not online. We are bespoke.
I
We
know,
are
I
very
know.
personalized.
Yes, yes.
And is this something that you do forever? I don't know. I mean, it's vows forever. That's the only forever I know.
Okay.
Everything else in life.
So, but did entrepreneurship drain you sometime, because you were coming from the employment background, but then yes, you did do a startup as well. But did it drain you sometime, thinking like, oh my god, like probably I could go back to the employment, and I was better off there?
Like I said, I belong to a business background, so that was the first stint anybody in my family has had in terms of employment, because nobody
Okay.
else in my family has worked. But I loved that as well. It was a wonderful experience. I was in Melbourne, I worked there for a few years. I was in London, I worked there for a few years. But post that, I think, like I said, I'm a natural entrepreneur. That's what I love doing. And does it drain me? No, I think it fuels me. When you do something, even with Vows for
I mean,
Eternity,
you're creating lives, in a way.
you're
Yeah,
creating something,
absolutely.
and so that fuels me every single day. I get up every day and I'm like raring
Wow.
to go. So it's to the contrary, it's very empowering and I love it.
It's also a noble thing to do, I think, guys, कि लोगों को matches नहीं मिलते हैं, and she's doing something which all of us, I mean me including, like, all of us want her to do. So why this name? Why Vows for Eternity? I mean, of course, it's quite obvious, but I just want to know your thought process behind it.
you know i I'm a little bit old fashioned that way. I believe that marriages are forever. That's my belief,
So
right?
am I.
And
Old school, totally
yeah,
old soul.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so and then and because, like I said, we're not a dating service, it is about
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
So I do feel that, and therefore the vows are forever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
very simple, as
Absolutely.
simple as that.
Absolutely. Okay. So, can you tell me how can one avail your service? So, Vows for Eternity, guys, there is a website, of course, and there you can have more details. But let's hear it from her. Like, how can one avail the service, and get the match of your life?
So we have a website, vowsforeternity.com. I think once, it's a good idea to visit that as a
Yeah.
starting point. All our phone numbers, contact details, email addresses, everything is there. And if people like what they read on the website, if they feel, if you feel this is for you, if you feel this resonates with you, if you feel this is the way you want to, we all need. I think more and more now, I think people need help to find the right person.
Actually, I will
You
come to
know,
that question. That is on my agenda, actually, because these are times that we are living in where it's getting really hard to find the right partner for each one of us, I think. So before that, tell me, प्राइस ब्रैकेट क्या है, बिकॉज पीपल आर कीन टू नो कि यार कितने का कितना हम स्पेंड कर सकते हैं, या फिर ऐसी और भी सर्विसेज हैं बाय द वे विच क्लेम टू बी कॉन्फिडेंशियल एंड bespoke and very exclusive, and they also have a very high price tag. How do you place yourself? You're premium, right? So how is it? It's not for the common man.
I don't know what you mean by common man. I think it really, I mean, we have different tiers of membership, right? We have an eligibility criteria. That's why on our website, person can't just go make the payment and sign up. We don't have that option. There is an eligibility criteria. So it's more about, we have a wonderful team, which is, in 4 different countries. So it's more about, we want to speak to you. We want to understand what you're looking for. We also want to talk to you
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
what is it that we bring to the table. It's not about, hey, this is our service, this is the sign up, just pay the money and come on. It's
Yeah.
not
Correct.
that, right?
Correct.
So there has to be a little bit of, is this the right fit for you? And our memberships really, they start on from 3 lakh rupees, and
That's
they
premium.
sort of,
Yes.
they go up, they go up from there. But I think it really is about more and more.
What's the maximum price?
Again, it depends. I mean, we have the private club, which is our signature service, which is where I'm involved as a
Okay.
matchmaker.
Personally, you are
I'm
involved.
personally involved as a matchmaker. I've done psychology for 5 years, so there's a lot of that I
Okay.
bring into that, in terms of understanding personalities, understanding what you're looking for. So that sort of is in the realm of about 20 lakhs plus. But that is a, the, again, the
हम
eligibility.
कहाँ guys, हम, I mean, I think then probably I can never ask another to find one for me यार. I was looking forward कि इस conversation के बाद शायद मेरी वो किस्मत में कुछ लिखा हो, but
Yeah.
another, do you think that I can fit in somewhere, like you can give me a discount or something like that?
you know, uh, I mean, the point really is that you said about kismat. I think there is a lot of destiny to
Yeah,
marriage.
yeah, that's
When the
true.
time is right, the right person, the right everything comes together. But equally, one can't be just sitting somewhere and saying somebody's just going to knock on my door and it's going to
True, you
happen.
have to make the
We
efforts.
all have to make the effort in our own capacities, whatever those are, right?
Okay,
And so I think that's really when one is in the right headspace, when one thinks, look, I want to share my life with somebody, I want a life partner,
absolutely.
then it's always good to make the efforts that are needed, right? That's really important to do that.
Okay, and what are the kind of clients that you have presently?
So our member base is very our age wise, they're sort of 20, essentially they start from about 22, 23, all the way to about 46, 48 is a typical sort of member base. And we have some people who are older than
So
that.
these are age brackets that you're talking about. What about the like people? What kind of background do they come from? And largely, what's your TG?
So essentially, most of our members, they're globally well traveled, they're well educated. Um, we have again different tiers of membership, but definitely for the entry level membership, it's full of lot more professionals. So we have, you know, the range really is professionals. You could be, kids of very, very senior professionals. So the very, very successful
Okay.
professionals, we have that. We have startup people, we have entrepreneurs, we have, people, investment bankers, lawyers, doctors, all of that. But I think it really is, I think the common thread is that these are people who are 100% certain that they're ready for marriage, and they recognize that they need they want some help to try to find the right person.
And they're serious about it,
They're
basically.
serious about
I mean,
it.
that is the reason why anybody would spend that kind of money and also invest time to go through that entire process of making it happen.
True, and also our process is also very involved because it's a confidential search. It's not an online search. So basically, when any member signs up, then there is a lot of conversations that we have on a very regular basis. We talk to you, we share a profile, get your feedback once people are introduced. There's a lot of constant communication that's happening, right? So these are
Okay.
people who want to lead their searches. These are not people where we've only spoken to parents and we're doing a search for a child, a boy or a girl that we've never met. So there's always a video call at the very least if we've not had a face-to-face meeting,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So and our members are driving their search themselves, right? I mean, you know the kind of person you want to be with more
Yep.
than anybody else
Yeah,
will know
that's
that,
true.
right? So if it's you getting married, then the best way to do it is to drive that search yourself, right?
सो ऐसा कोई स्पेसिफिक प्रोफेशन या बैकग्राउंड है जिसमें आपने देखा कि सक्सेस रेट बहुत हाई है?
I don't think it's about background, I don't think it's about occupation or things, because we don't match make on the basis of occupation.
You match make basis personalities, if I'm right,
Personality is one
and the
part of it.
mindsets and the goals
Right.
that they.
And then if two people are aligned, then they can be whatever background and whatever professional occupation that you come from. I mean, home is not a work environment.
Yeah,
It's not,
true.
hey, this is I'm in the clinic with doctors and I come back and my home is full of doctors. It really is about the mindset. Who do you connect
But
with?
don't you think that a doctor usually tries to marry a doctor? They say that they match well, their mindsets are like aligned because that's the kind of setup they are in, the environment that they are together. They understand each other more. Do you think like usually that's the scenario?
I think that's changed,
Okay, it's changing now.
especially I think in the last 5 years that's totally changed. I think people are very, I think most people want the other person to bring something different to the table,
Okay.
right? Because otherwise it's more of the same.
True,
So,
very true. I
you,
can't think of another media person in my house.
yeah. So that balance is really important. Somebody else comes in, there's a fresh perspective coming in about life, about your day, about learning from each other. So that has drastically changed, and I'm so glad that it
And
has.
what does your husband do?
My husband is a finance professional. Yeah,
So there's like a lot of difference there
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So what's your personal chemistry? Like I want to understand like uh, you like it this way or like now you don't have any option anyway, but do you like you prefer this way when the professions are different, or like you thought that probably if some person was a the same background or same set of mind would have been better?
I didn't really go for the profession at all. I
Okay.
just went for the person. I mean, this
Okay.
was not a job application. So I went for the person, and the person happened to be doing,
What
whoever
was your
you.
checklist?
My checklist was that I had only one checklist. I want to be with somebody I can't live without. That was the only checklist I
But did you
had.
fall in love and then
Yeah,
you
we
went for?
dated for a year. Yeah, so we did date for a year, and that's also the way we do this through, through vows fraternity as well.
Hmm.
The average time that it takes is about 10 months to 18 months for people to get married. I always say in
Okay.
today's day and time, of
That's
course,
sensible
yeah,
actually.
because divorces are on the rise,
Oh
and I
yes.
always say
That
that.
was almost my like eighth or ninth question, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's always you want to be in a place where you're not, you know enough about each
So
other before you
do
marry.
you think the divorces are really on the rise and that these days people do speak a lot about it, that there are more divorces than marriages?
I don't think there are more divorces than marriages. I think.
People sort of have this perception now that people are getting more separated and divorced and away from each other than getting together, and the scenario is कि अभी बहुत comfortable हो गया, बड़ा scene हो गया कि यार चलो अभी dating apps आ गई हैं, the options are more, swipe left right and you are you have the person in front of you and then it's gone, he's gone or she's gone in like 1 month 2 months and ऐसे ही पूरा साल निकल जाता है. So do you think marriages, like people have lost it for it, lost the idea of and the belief in the institution of marriage, like you and me, like we are old school like you said, and we really do believe in the institution of marriage, but people these days like are not really up for it.
Well, I don't think. I mean, you swipe left. I once you get married, I don't think anybody is swiping left or right. So once somebody is in a marriage, nobody gets into a marriage thinking this won't be forever, right? Nobody wants to get married and say I'm getting married, but I'm only going to get married for 1 year. Like nobody gets into a marriage like that,
That's
right?
so true.
So, but sometimes, despite best efforts, it doesn't work out, and it doesn't. Whatever the reasons are, they're best known to the
But why
couple.
do you think now in these times it's more on the rise?
It's more on the rise because, well, it's definitely not more. The number is not more than the number of people getting married. That's for sure. But the other,
चलो शुक्र है, तो
there are. I
शांति
think
मिल गई हमें ये सुन के.
it's more on the rise because I think earlier, as a society, divorce in the Indian community, it's really been a taboo for the longest time.
Yeah.
So it didn't really mean that the marriages were very happy. It was just that
True.
people weren't getting divorced, even though they were in very
True.
unhappy marriages,
True.
because it was a taboo. The second reason people didn't do that also was, in the older generations, women were not financially independent,
Correct.
right? Like,
Correct.
look at both of us. We are doing our own things. We are career women,
Yeah.
right? So when you're not financially independent, I think a lot of times the mindset was very different, that you do the best that you can, and you stay within the
Yeah.
institution.
True.
Now people are saying, well, marriage should be a partnership. I think more and more people are taking marriage the way it should be. It should be a partnership. It should be a space where two people thrive. They become better together.
Yeah.
And when two people are not becoming better together, they're saying this is actually, this
It's
is
not.
not, yeah, this
Yeah.
is
It's
not
not
the
helping individuality to grow.
not only individual. I think it's more about the institution of
Yeah.
marriage is not
Absolutely.
about this
It's
space which is about compromise. It is
correct.
about a space where both people can thrive.
Thrive.
And when that is not happening, people are saying, look, this is not what this institution is about. It's a partnership, it's a team. If you don't have a strong team, then it actually demeans the institution.
Right.
So
Very
people
right.
are saying, let's be very true to this, let's do it for the right reasons. And if the right reasons are not there, for whatever best known to the couple, then people are saying, let's respect this institution of marriage and let's move out of it, but not let's not stay into it just because of what will
What will
Mr.
society think?
XYZ
Yeah.
thinks, right? So
Yeah.
I think
True.
people are being more true to themselves and to the
I think
relationship.
that's the right way to put it. Yeah. So you've been around for a decade now, and help me understand the difference between the Indian market and international market.
Right.
How both the markets differ from each other in when it comes to matrimony?
Because we are actually, our members are all Indians. They're all either Indian heritage. So if they're in India, they're obviously Indians. But outside India, there are a lot of NRIs, a lot of first generation, second generation, whether it's sort of American passports. But generally, the heritage is Indian. So there are they're very comfortable with the concept of an arranged introduction. I won't say arranged marriage because we've never had an arranged marriage. It's always been an arranged introduction. If you're The quickest marriage that we had was 10 months later, so that's not an arranged marriage. You get to know each other. Not everything is a love marriage, but it's not arranged marriage per se, right?
Okay.
So I think people are, but Indians generally, we've had this for generations, for centuries, where there's been arranged marriages, right? So we're very
True.
comfortable with that idea. So I think that is very similar, whether it is here, we have members
Okay.
in 65 countries.
Okay.
So that mindset is always there. The other thing, I think the way people are looking at this is about, there's somebody, I've come outside my home, I'm living in a different country, I'm living in a different city, I don't have a social network here, how do I meet people? And that's where we come in,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because by virtue of being a global company, we have members across the world.
Correct.
And therefore, we're able to introduce people no matter which part of the world they are in, right?
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know, I mean, think about it. We are meeting which is far away from your home, right? People travel for education far away from their home.
True.
People travel for jobs far away from their home, right? So for marriage, people are saying, I don't want to restrict my search to this 3 kilometer radius. I want to be with the best person that I can. And people are willing to travel, they're willing to
Okay.
move, they're willing to
So
meet
basically, you're
people.
saying it's very seamless, but at the same time, what is the difference that you see?
Well, I think the difference is, um, the difference is more about from when we have members in, say, for example, the US, which is where 50% of our members are. When you have the second generation or the third generation, Indians, Americans, then that's where the difference comes in, because then their relatability is very different, right? It's growing up, being born in the US and growing up in the US. It's almost like a different culture, right? So they see the Indianness at home with their parents, but they have home for them is the United
Okay.
States or the United
So what
Kingdom
kind
or
of
wherever.
partners they're looking for?
But they are all, again, the common thread is they're looking for partners um, who are, who feel strongly about whatever they're doing in their
Okay.
life.
Okay.
I don't think in the last 8 years I've ever had a request where somebody said, look, I want somebody who doesn't work. And generally it's not that,
Okay.
there are some couples where two people are working because it's needed
Yeah.
for the family,
Yeah. But they do it for their
financially,
own.
and but also,
Yeah.
otherwise, but most people are saying, let both people, we want to be with somebody who is doing something they feel strongly about,
Okay,
whatever that
correct,
is,
correct.
right?
So, do you think in India, actually, that leads me to the next question, which is, do you think in India now the scenario has changed where people wanted their spouses, like the women, to not work after marriage? I don't know, like, what all categories are we looking at here, but then do you think that perception has changed drastically over a decade or so, where they want them to work, they want them to go out, like you were saying, they want them to feel strongly about something and do it?
That's, if that was the case earlier, like I said, I've not had, with our members, we've never really had that experience. People have always been, you know the way
Okay.
our member base has been very much about, both people being in a good space, and to be in a good healthy space, you have to be happy. So I think that is really important. So whether you're doing something, if you choose not to do something and it is not financially needed in a couple environment, that's fine too.
Okay.
People, it's a space where both people make their own choices,
True.
right? That is what our members want. You want to work, it's great. You don't want to work, that's fine too, but
Okay.
be involved with something.
Correct. Okay.
I think guys these days are not really, at least the change I see is they're not really sort of expecting that somebody's waiting for them at home when they come back from the office. And that's you know
Yeah.
that's really the way
Yeah.
things are right now. It
Okay.
really is more and more um, about friendship
True.
and companionship
Yeah.
and all of that as well, right? And marriage is becoming a lot more of that too.
What's your take on these quick relation, you know, quick partner apps that are in the market? What is your, since you are somebody who's doing exclusive, investing your time and making your clients invest their time and being actually serious about making lives together, what is your take on these apps which are there in the market and they just tell you, hey, you want somebody in your life, like just swipe and
I think um, there are we are in different at different times, we're at different stages in our life, right? There are some people, there are sometimes we're not ready for a commitment of marriage, right? We want to date, we may be at a mindset, we may be at an age, we may be professionally at a stage, whatever it is, we might not just be ready to commit. So at that point, if you're not ready to commit, it obviously doesn't make sense to get married, and because then you're also involving somebody else into that
Right.
picture, right? But if you're not ready, there's absolutely nothing wrong with dating till such time as you feel you're ready to commit. That's when you go into
Do you
marriage.
think it's not spoiling the culture, spoiling the mindsets, having it easy?
Well, I don't think it's spoiling. I mean, I don't think it's spoiling the culture. I mean, nobody forces you to do anything,
Correct.
right? In life, as adults, we all make the choices
Choices.
that, that work best for us. We're not in kindergarten anymore. So
So it's availability of choices. You make your choice. It's not about being wrong or right. It's about the choices.
it's about the choices, about each person making their own choices,
Correct.
right? And that
Has
has to.
anybody come to you saying that, hey, my match did not work?
I've never had that in 10 years. It's always the
Touch
first
wood.
time, but I hope that doesn't happen.
That's a
But
nightmare, right? For a matchmaking service.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a nightmare, because I don't think we can, once people get married, I mean, again, then they don't get married at a gunpoint that we are putting. So
Yeah.
once people make a choice to get married, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, that's their call.
But nobody has come to you saying, yeah, it didn't
So
work.
far, nobody has come. No.
Wow. Now I'm seriously thinking about it. Now, okay, and my last question would be like, what was that moment of your personal happiness when you felt this is it? Like, this is exactly why I wanted to, invest my soul into this business, not the monetary or the financial part I'm talking about. I'm talking about as a person when it gave you that high and that soul satisfaction of choosing to do what you're doing right now.
Yeah, it's very easy, that this question.
Has it happened to you once or multiple times?
Well, it's
And
happened
what
multiple.
moments were
Yeah,
those?
I mean, it's happened multiple times, perhaps too many to have in this conversation. But I can tell you the first time it happened, because that is that,
It
anytime
stays
the
with
first
you.
thing always
Yeah,
is
it
is
always stays
something.
with you.
So this was many years ago, and um, this couple who got married, I got a call, and generally, he would always, text me or send me a message and saying, "Can we speak?" I got a call from this guy at about 8:30 in the morning, and I was, I saw the phone and I called him back, and I was really worried. I was just hoping everything is okay, because
Yeah.
he would never just call me without us fixing a time, and
Okay.
and I said, all okay? And he said, yeah. He said, all good. I wanted to, and he and his wife both were there, and obviously we got them married, you know, perhaps about 2 years before that. And he said, we're just outside the doctor's office, and we wanted to let you know that we're going to have a baby, and you are the first person we wanted to share this
How
with you.
sweet.
And to me, that was like you said, it was soul satisfying.
Yeah.
I was beyond touched,
It's
because
it's it's coming in your eyes as well.
I never thought that, he didn't need to call me. And it's
Absolutely.
definitely not. He said, we've just come out from the clinic,
It
and
gives
this is
me
the first thing.
goosebumps while you're saying this.
So
I really
I
got it
think
because it's a big deal,
that is a big deal.
It's like you sent by God in their lives, and today they are creating another life out of their match,
Yeah.
and giving you the call. I
I
think
think, again, I felt very
these are the
humbled.
moments you work for at the end of the
You
day,
do,
right?
yeah. And sometimes I get handwritten notes by mothers
Oh,
and things like. I mean, these are the things which make it worthwhile.
yeah,
And I feel very humbled. I feel very blessed, and
yeah.
I don't take that lightly. I always say I never take it lightly. It's a blessing, when somebody, reaches out to you like this.
True, very
So
true, very true.
many heartfelt moments along the journey.
Truly, truly. And I really hope, Anuradha, there are many more to come for you in the future ahead. And you are truly doing a great job because, like, being a single myself, I understand it's a crazy job to find your match for your life. And I think for the moments like you just shared, I think it's all worthwhile at the end of the day. Thank you so much for talking to me and taking your time. She has a flight to catch, guys. I have to end this, and we're almost 30 minutes touching. So thank you so much for watching this video, and do share, subscribe, like. I'm still not in the habit of saying this, but yeah, this video as well as my channel if you like my interviews. And here's Anuradha and me signing out. Thank you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye now. Take care.